BMT. It's my baby mama, I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies and doing setups. It's my baby mama, I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies and doing setups.
Stand Oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. The Solemn Court now stands adjourned, sine die. God save the state and this honorable court.
Yeah. Shout out to the Cows gang. We definitely gonna get this thing started because we only got like an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. So y'all, I'm gonna let y'all know already. You may be seated because we finna get this thing started. Shout out to the Baby Mama Ted's Bounty Hunters. I'm your host, Mr. Palmer. Today we're gonna have an interesting show. This is gonna be a part two of earlier. If you was on the stream, I was over there with Eric Carroll. Dad Talk Today with Pissed Off Parent. And it was very interesting because a lot of people do know who I am. Start off on Facebook, but they never seen us together. We never did an interview together, but we always talk behind the scenes. He's one of the brothers who actually schooled me on some things, told me about his situation, as well as other fathers' rights movements. And I told y'all this numerous of times on why we never did anything together to the public. One, because he was involved in the politics. He was dealing with these senators, these governors, these other politicians, and he couldn't affiliate, fuck child support, with that. And I said, hey, I understand. But I always told him, I said, it's gonna come a time that you're gonna realize that these politicians ain't trying to do shit for dads. And even he sees, and I think he already knew, which is the fact that he had more hope than I did. And there's nothing wrong with that. I tell a lot of fathers who say, I'm gonna fight to the fullest. And I say, yeah, you definitely fight, but I just want you to be aware this may happen. If it don't happen, great. But this can happen. And then a lot of them come back like, I wish I would have paid more attention, or you was right about everything you said, and so on. So, and now he realized that this politically correct shit is not where it's at because they just sitting there playing a role like they really want to hear you, take some pictures, make it look good, but they ain't finna do nothing. Play stupid like they got to get educated by us as fathers when these are fathers and they know how the law goes and what's going on. They pass these laws. So, one thing about it, I always say that things happen for a reason, and the time is now. And we got Eric Carroll over here, and we're gonna definitely do a part two on this dialogue, and we're gonna talk about what made him start doing this, why, as well as pissed off parent, and we're gonna continue to spread the truth. And like I told y'all, 2023 was gonna be some changes made even on my platform, and I'm definitely gonna do this because I really want to spread awareness. And I always told y'all, we as men, definitely men and women, are definitely more than welcome to build this brotherhood. So we could definitely try to make change. If the law's not gonna change, okay, we change the laws within ourselves. That's why I always say, change the laws in your mind. We have to change within ourselves. Right? We have that power. If we don't have no other power, we have that power. And I think earlier was a good, explanation on why I say fuck child support and where I stand and why I call them baby mama terrorists. Because when it's all said and done, and I tell people all the time, I don't have to wear my fuck child support hat. I could wear a three-piece suit. I could wear a tank top. I could wear a t-shirt. Whatever you want me to wear. I could be clean. I could be unfiltered if you want me to. But I just want you or whoever else that want to shame me and go against me, just prove me wrong. And if you prove me wrong, then I'll say, hey, you got me there. But until then, I ain't trying to hear shit. I'm just being honest with you. Because all I care about is change for fathers and children's right, because children are not allowed to be fathers. They don't have that right because their rights are violated due to one of these baby mama tears and this court system. Now, look at the laws when they tell you, well, when the child gets 15, some states is 14, some 16. It depends on where you at. And they say that child has the right to choose. Well, if you go back to Caleb Leverett, his son was 16 and he said, I want to live with my dad. And guess what that judge said? Nope. So even though they tell you that, oh, when your child get older, he can say what he want, he can say where he want to go. Yeah. And the judge tell you, I will take that into consideration. Even when the child say, I want to stay with my father, that judge can still deny it. Why? Because the benefit to keep that man paying that child support and get that $60 billion business. Yes. And Caleb Leverett been through a lot of turmoil with his baby mama test. We did an interview with him a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, we saw the viral video when his son Parker didn't want to go back with her, dealing with abuse from the stepfather simp and so on. So that's what I'm saying. I just want people to understand that when you go in there saying, hey man, I want to fight for this, I want to get that, great. That's one thing you do, fight if you can. But this is what I want you to know, because I don't want you to be surprised, shocked. I don't want you to pass out like, I don't believe what this man just said, this judge. I don't believe what she said, and so on. You know, because if you don't know, you can't say, I don't want you to come back and say, I didn't know. Because a lot of brothers do come out and say, I didn't know. I wasn't never told. So we trying to teach the brothers now, this can be you. Save yourselves. Get yourselves in order. Do what you got to do to better yourself. So everybody's up here. Please hit the like button. That's one thing that is free. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Appreciate the people from Facebook to come over to YouTube, because I know a lot of people on Facebook just still deal with Facebook. So shout out to y'all. That's where I originally started. But Facebook basically took me off the map. So I had to, you know, come over here. They full of shit like everybody else, but they more lenient than the rest of them. Shout out to Ashley Odell for the $10 donation. Appreciate you, sister. Got to give a shout out to Pan-African Black Man Going His Own Way Patriot for the $25 donation. Thank you, my brother. Anybody want to donate to the channel as well, you're welcome to, or you can send it to the Cash App. The reason why a lot of us who on YouTube say Cash App, because YouTube gets 30% of the donations, and these are the same ones who is trying to shadow ban and flag your channel and give you strikes unjustly and take you off the internet. So that's why I said, if you can, donate to the Cash App. It's on the bottom screen from right to left. So, and I don't know why he did this, but shout out to Dead Talk today. I wasn't talking about you, my brother, but I appreciate it. Shout out to Ed Carroll for the 999. Appreciate you, my brother. Now, if he could do it and he got his own channel going on, you could do it too. Shout out to Eric Carroll. And without further ado, let me go ahead and bring these two brothers on here, and we're going to definitely have a good dialogue. And it's long overdue, but again, things happen for a reason. We got my man Eric Carroll. We got Dwayne, aka Pissed Off Aaron.
What up, guys?
What's going on?
It was neat. I had to use the feature. I'm usually on the other side of this, so I'm seeing how everything is working. If I can do it, you guys can too. Keep it rolling down there in the comments. Let's get them stickers going.
Most definitely hit the like button. Again, that's one thing that is free. I really appreciate both of y'all coming on the show. Like I say, long overdue, but I understand.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, and I want you on here again. I know a lot of brothers who came from Facebook that's on YouTube that's been rolling with me for the last couple of years, actually some years, even when I was on Facebook, who knew exactly who you was, Eric. They know all about you. A lot of people say, hey man, go, network. I said, we talk behind the scenes. I want people who, just in case they don't know who you are, let them know who you are, and as well as you, Dwayne. But I like saying Pissed Off Parent.
That's cool.
His name is Dwayne, y'all, but I like that Pissed Off Parent.
You're not used to having that moniker a little bit more appreciated, are you, Dwayne?
I know. I'm usually, yeah, everyone's like, oh, you can't use Pissed Off Parent. It might offend somebody.
See,
Mr. Paul like, hold my beer.
That's what I don't understand. If you're an alienated father, you've been screwed by the court system, why I can't be pissed off? Why should I run around with a smile on my face talking about, oh yeah, I just been alienated, I ain't seen my son in 10 years, I'm not pissed off, I just don't understand.
Right.
Come on now, make that make sense.
It's like we talked about earlier. You got that narrative of the angry deadbeat dad. And so when people watch these shows or they look from the outside, they're not really taking in that content. They're looking for that one little thing that they can use to say, see, I told you that's who he is. And because that's what the alienator does. It's a smear campaign. And just like false allegations, they don't have to be true. They just got to make people think it is, right?
I'll tell you one thing. Since we on my channel, this is my response to those who try to use the shame tactic.
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
see, we on my channel, and that's how I feel. And any man or woman be a fool to let I don't care if it's the majority, come shame you about you speaking your truth and telling your truth with receipts. So you shouldn't give a damn about what they say.
No, man.
No,
Nah, dude. I mean, we know what we're in here for.
exactly. So that's
Yeah.
crazy. So I want to know, Eric, how long you been doing this, and why have you been doing this?
I started this back in 2019. At that point in time, I was just a 9-to-5 dad. Ended up getting in a divorce. Unbeknownst to me, wife was messing around with several different guys. So I ended up getting in this divorce, and I, like many men, tried to jump right back into something else because I believe in the nuclear family. I wanted that, so I tried to force it. And then I ended up in just as bad, if not worse, a situation. And got with somebody when she was 6 months pregnant. She hit me. And I remember what that was like, man, at that point in time. Do I call the cops? Because they'll take me to jail. But if I leave, I'm going to be a deadbeat, or I'm abandoning my kid. And it felt hopeless, man. I went and talked to a couple of attorneys. The first one was it was cheaper to keep her, try to get back with her. I paid him a consultation fee for him to say that. The second one, I can get you anything you want. You know how they do, but I need 10,000 on retainer to get started. And I'm like, okay. That's when I started seeing what was going on. And, you know, my current job at that point in time, I was a truck driver. And so I had all this time in the truck and I listened to podcasts. I love Joe Rogan. And I got to thinking about it. It was like, while I'm riding in the truck after getting this bull crap from these attorneys, like there's got to be some podcast out there that's talking about these issues. And I went looking up. There's nothing out there for men.
Mm-hmm.
And about that time, I had went and got a new job because I was trying to be able to afford these BS attorneys and these fees, thinking that was going to be my only solution. Got this new job. They promised me management, the whole 9 yards. Man, I was there 1 month when they said for me to stay at home, that everybody had to call into a meeting. And we found out that they were shutting it down nationwide. This was a big company, Nestle.
Oh,
They
Nestle.
had a Nestle, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It was a direct DSD division where they didn't want to deliver to the stores anymore. The stores would just get it and they'll get their employees to put it up. So I was going to be losing a job. And I said, every time I am fighting for my kid, it's like I hit a dead end. Like there's nothing there. And I do have a supportive wife now. She's been amazing. I'm not being a simp, guys. I'm serious. There is some real ones out there. Okay. And I love her to death. At the same time, I got this idea. I was like, what if I started this podcast? And originally I wanted Dad Talk. I went to GoDaddy, like a lot of us do, to purchase a website, and it was going to be $2,500. And I was like, I don't have $2,500. But down in the suggested area was Dad Talk Today, $9.99, exactly what I just sent to your channel. And I told my wife about it, and she said, Eric, I believe in you. Go for it. And dude, it was a leap of faith, because I had a lot of people that made fun of me. Like, this is a crazy idea. Like you got to have a 9-to-5 job. You got to do this. Dude, by the time we did the first podcast, I had 10,000 followers, and I hadn't even released the show yet. And I knew then, like, oh, wow, something is going on. Well, I wasn't even doing this 6 months before I got invited to do a news channel or a news segment up in North Georgia. And once I told them what I was fighting for, that segment did so good that they reached back out and said, we want to put you on our TV station. So we ended up doing 2 seasons on TV up in North Georgia. And we found out we were reaching more people with the podcast. But in that time, I got invited to a political conference. And you got to understand something, guys. As much as I've done in politics, I was a rock and roll guy. I hate politics, anti-establishment. I can't stand it. But they said, if you want to change it, you got to go to the political arena. So I showed up, started, I did a couple of interviews on Media Row. And then about that time, an organizer heard about me, and he said, dude, they're ranting and raving about you over here. We want you on Media Row. And I was just there as a spectator and never interviewed a politician, didn't want to interview a politician, hated politics. But I said, okay, this is a moment for the movement. And I went and I got set up in between Sirius XM and Breitbart. And for the whole weekend, it was just one politician after another, talking about the fatherless issue, Title 4D, the whole 9 yards. And that's really what started off what we've seen over the past 3 years. Year before last, I traveled to 43 states, guys, doing political conferences, marching capitals, and trying to talk to these guys about what's going on. You know, I'm not, I don't regret doing some of the things that I did, because I needed to see for myself what all is going on behind the scenes. These guys definitely know what's going on. Over half of our legislators are attorneys, guys. They're the ones that's making the laws for you and me. And as much as I want to just say screw politics altogether, there is legislation that's going in there right now that is very dangerous, that we'll be sitting here talking about later, like, oh, look at what they're doing to me. No, dude, you need to be looking at it now. You know, do I believe voting matters and all that other stuff? You know what? We have a voting block with this movement, but we're not organized yet enough.
Right.
And that's where I said, you know, we really need to take a step back. I think there is going to be a time when we go in that political arena, but right now we got to get our brothers together, man. This is a war that we're fighting, guys. They are attacking masculinity. It doesn't matter what race. It doesn't matter what country. They are attacking masculinity every way they can. And look what it's doing to the world. If we don't get a hold of this now, in 10 to 20 years from now, you're not even going to recognize this place, dude. Yeah, I mean, you're not even going to recognize it. And that's, you know, what you was talking about, Mr. Palmer. Yes, fuck child support. There's going to be somebody, I know, they look for any little thing I do. Oh, and see, that's who he is. Pissed off parent. I got to be a little careful about that because that plays into their narrative. Screw their narrative, man. At this point in time, screw their narrative. Let's get in here and let's say what needs to be said, because right now all we are is dads that want to be in our kids' life. I have never had a guy come to my channel and say, I don't want to support my kids or I don't want to be a dad. And all we hear about is the deadbeat. These aren't deadbeats. These are guys that have hit dead ends. And the system is failing them in every way, man.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, Dwayne, pissed off parent.
Piss off parent.
How long you been a father's right activist and and pissed off parent? I definitely want to.
Oh, pissed off parent for a while. Mine really started 2013, 2014. The website, the Roku, the Amazon channel, the YouTube channel, you know, all those medias. They started around 2019-ish. After I had tried to unsuccessfully work with other organizations to try to make changes. They didn't want to do things the way I thought they needed to get done. I took a back seat, helping out. If anyone hasn't figured out now, I'm a huge nerd, so I know technology, and so I was offering services and help there, and it just nothing was changing. So I not getting that support. I went, I need to find a way to collect information, have that data available, because it didn't really exist in one spot. So that was kind of how pissedoffparent.com was created, 5 years ago, I want to say. Mm-hmm. And that's, kind of a place where you can see videos and collect documents and memes and all that information. Builds a kind of a clearinghouse. And that when I talk to a legislator, I tell them, hey, here's my business card, go to that website, check the information out, or if I just need to have quick access. But that is how it happened. My current wife, I've been married 3 times. Third time's a charm.
Oh man, what made you do it?
Not the same one twice. I'm just going to throw it out there. A little shade.
Yeah, I didn't do that either.
I don't know who y'all talking about.
But third time charm. Married the first time for 17 years. Had 2 wonderful boys from that. We're all still together. Actually, the older ones moved out. And my story is a little different than most people. If you don't mind, I can give like the 30-second. I've condensed my story down to like 30 seconds. So I grew up in a small little town outside of Missouri, and dirt poor. Worked my butt off. Went to college, night school. Worked 2 jobs to make everything, have that successful life. The story I was told that I should do. And then about after I paid my house off and all that. I mean, I enjoyed success from a lot of hard work. My then wife decided she wasn't happy anymore, started playing her games, silver bullet, blah, 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 and started to go down the path of that a lot of people go down. Trust your attorney, go into court. It's going to be fair. When I walked out the first time, I realizing that the system is not fair at all towards men. I've never touched my wife. I've never didn't even have a speeding ticket. I mean, just no issues, and being treated the way a man was being treated, being laughed at for saying that I want to raise my children by the judge. I went, something's got to change. So I started doing research and figuring out, about the Title 4D funds and all those pieces. And actually, the way I win my cases, I relied on my ex-wife's greediness and said, okay, I had, I think, around $300,000 worth of assets. I said, okay. And I'm in Texas now, so we all know about how Texas is. I went into negotiations, sat down, and both of our attorneys already had it planned out on how it was supposed to work. I fired my attorney and said, here's $300,000. I want equal shared custody. Less than 5% of Texans get equal shared custody because of the laws, and I'll pay $1,000 a month. I knew I wasn't going to get on that. That would make the OAG happy. My ex-wife happily signed. We walked out, and I said, my kids will never go through what I go through, what I had to deal with. Fast forward a couple years, my ex-wife burned through all the money, went back to her home planet Uranus, and I actually now receive child support. So I've been receiving child support for about 2 years now. So to me, in the system, and again, there's a video out there on the YouTube channel that actually has the conversation with me and the OAG going back and forth, because I didn't want child support because I know how the system works. And no problem if anyone that does want to get child, because you should support your child, although there's other ways. But they would not let me not put my ex-wife on child support. They didn't care where they got the money as long as they got money, and so it went from there. So I received child support, but I still want the system to crumble. It's a bad system all the way around for what it does to our families. And you've already talked about all the data, the $1 trillion every decade that it costs taxpayers, the damage, the mental issues to children, all the things we see out in the news, so on and so forth. So all that's there. It's just unfortunately our legislators, judicial groups, and all the law industry, the $60 billion law industry, they don't care. They want the money. And but that's why I fight.
And that's the tripped out part. I want everybody to hear what he said. He said that only 5% of Texas fathers get equal parenting time. But y'all say, a lot of people say, well, all you got to do is just go get a lawyer and they say you want equal parenting. They do not want equal parenting because that's less money going to their bank. Right. Another thing that he just said, he had to basically, was it give half of the $300,000 an asset or the whole $300,000?
Whole thing. Because again, the lawyer's job is to bleed you dry, and then at the very end, when you have no more money, you've mortgaged your great grandkids' legacy away, then they say, "Oh, you need to settle." So I said, you know what? I don't even want to play the game because I know where it's going to end up with. First, third, and fifth weekends. I went, all right, I'm going to play on her greediness, and said, "Here you go." And she signed the
and yes, and that's what I want you to understand, brothers. They are fathers who do get equal parent stuff like that, but a lot of them have to go spend a lot of money. $300,000. The children was used as a prop, a weapon, a rocket launcher, and a money bag for him to get equal parenting time. Thank God she ended up going to Venus or Uranus, wherever she went to, and ended up getting full custody. And him getting her child support, hey, it is what it is. But I just want you to understand that it costs, and a lot of people don't have no $300,000 to just give somebody. You know what I'm saying? So
I didn't have 10,000 to give them.
Exactly. So I want y'all to understand that a lot of brothers who do end up getting custody or equal parenting, they spend a lot of money. A brother told me he spent $150,000 just to get equal parenting. And the only reason why he got that was because she ran out of money. That's the only reason. He used his deferred comp to get that, and it's sad. It's all about the dollars. It's all about the dollars. Shout out to Tim Howard V for the $5 donation. He said, "Congratulations on your 600 video and 13,000 subscribers. Stay strong. Hashtag Cows Gang. Cows Gang." I didn't realize I did 600 videos. I do the 13,000. I just post, man. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Want to give a shout out to James Davis for the $5 cash. We sent this 12 this morning. He says 21 years of slave donation. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to XL Pro for the $5 cash. He says salute to the fathers. Thank you as well, my brother. Wow, $300,000.
Small price to pay.
I thought you meant that came in on YouTube. He's like, now you can do some stuff.
$300,000.
Dude, look at Jeff Younger, $2 million.
He spent $2 million.
$2 million.
And still didn't get.
Still didn't get nothing.
I'm gonna reach out to him. I'm gonna have him come on here too. He definitely need to talk about that. Oh, that judge. I don't know if that's the judge.
Mary Brown.
I don't know.
Mary Brown is Jeff Younger's judge out of Dallas.
He had a judge before her because they took off. They took off. She the one who lost that that family court judge by Vonda B.
Okay.
That's who she was on that case at first, but then they let her go because she did some bullshit. And I exposed her ass, and I talked about that. I had Vonda B on the show 3 times, and I think she just got sworn in. So hopefully, you know, she stick to trying to help fathers and be for what's right and not for what benefits government daddy. Hopefully, shout out to Vonda B. But you know, let me ask you this: how was it, Eric, dealing with the politicians and being around? Because I seen, I'm like, man, he over there with this politician, this senator. You traveling, you know, you in these conferences and everything. And I'm like, I wish I could, but I already know I won't be going to them doors. So I want to know, how was it?
So, you know, I want to make sure that I don't paint everybody with a broad brush, because there is some good ones out there, guys, that want to see what's happening. Unfortunately, you need the majority to pass laws.
Exactly.
The majority is the establishment. They're crooked as shit, and any of the good politicians will tell you that. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. Like, I mean, it's crazy. Again, I had never interviewed a politician before. There were several other organizations that was there. I was actually there just to be in the background and to help. And then by the time I got on Media Row, none of the organizations that I was there to help would even talk. And really? So I'm over here interviewing politicians. Yeah, dude. It was like they was mad that I got a media booth. And so now I'm interviewing politicians for the first time and don't know what in the world is going on. So I would have done things a lot differently back then had I been seasoned, and I would do things differently now. It's like Title 4D. You don't want to tell these guys about Title 4D. They find out they're going to lose money. They damn sure ain't going to talk to you. But we was just there. We was, you know, putting the message out. I'll be honest with you. We did so much in such a small period of time. It wasn't until not long ago I was having to get tidbits of these things to put out to people that it was like listening to these interviews for the first time. When you're at a political conference for 12 or 14 hours and every 5 minutes you get somebody new that's sitting down and you got to carry that conversation and open those doors. I felt like a parrot. I was saying a lot of the same things over and over. And, you know, like I said, sometimes it feels like it falls upon deaf ears. The real situation is like you hear these politicians talk about the fatherless issue. So that was one place they were a little bit more educated. So I would get into that. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel very bad. We got a guy that a lot of people know in the community, Mr. Paul Elam. And it wasn't not too long ago that I was talking to Paul, and he was like, Eric, change will never happen in the political arena, not as it is right now. And I ain't going to lie to you. I had to sit there and kind of bite my lip a little bit like, what? You know how much work I've put into that?
I agree.
You know? And it was one of those that I had to just go and, you know, sit there and chew on it for a second. I was like, he's right, dude. He's right. And there's many different reasons behind that. I think if we would have had, you know, a couple of million of these guys behind us when I was going and talking to these legislators, we'd have got some change. But right now, as it is, the guys are at work. And they don't want to trust any of these politicians because that's how it got here in the first place. It is. So, I mean, I understand both sides of it. Unfortunately, a lot of the good ones that are running for office, they don't win. Jeff Younger ran for office.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
The establishment gave his opponent, the establishment in the same party as Jeff, the Republican Party, gave his Republican opposition $2 million to run against him because they didn't want Jeff on there. Why aren't they getting on there? All these people that are doing media on Jeff now, why weren't they doing it before? Why weren't these politicians talking about it before? Because had he done it, the family courts would have got exposed because that's how it got there in the first place. They didn't want anybody to know what had happened.
That's why they want him in office, because he'd have been trying to make changes for fathers and they'd have been losing money. And they were like, we can't have him now.
No. And he's a well-spoken man. They knew if he got on there, he was going to expose the real problem.
That's sad. You got wasn't he on Tucker Carlson?
Yeah, he was on Carson about a week ago. Yep.
Now, but you never talked to him beforehand. That's the thing that killed him. Now you want to all these media. Now they talking to Jeff Younger and now after the fact, but they didn't want to talk to him before. They wasn't going to talk to him. And that case he been going through for years. I mean, everybody knew about it. It was on the media and everything. And I was actually thought that the righteous judge would say, nah, she would not be allowed to change that boy's sexuality, not sexuality, but gender.
Mm-hmm.
Being 10 or 11 years old, I figure if the child get 18, then if he or she want to do that, then ain't nothing you could do about it.
And that's what Younger has said since the get-go.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. They allowed it.
Jeff Younger has said since the get-go, when James turns 18,
yes,
and he wants to do it, that's his right. But at 7 years old, I think he's not even 10 yet. I think he's 9.
He's 9.
Okay, he's 9. I thought he was
11. But at this point, it's up to the parents. And getting right down to it, Jeff Younger was actually the only bio child. The mother, it was artificial insemination, and she is a pediatrician.
Yeah. And I tell people all the time, the worst.
And none of our legislators stood up. They would, I think I've seen maybe 3 or 4 letters written, again, just letters, but no overall support for Jeff and his fight. And as Eric pointed out, his own party spent $2 million in funds to make sure he was not elected. I mean, if you go to followthemoney.org, it's a free website you can go to, and you type in any legislator's name, as you know, it'll pull back and show everyone that's ever donated to their campaign through legal means. And you'll see these law firms and the legislature each sending money to each other. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. When you know what, I just thought about it. When basically he lost that case.
Went to the state Supreme Court and he lost.
Yeah. He lost the state. He went all the way to the state Supreme Court, and I don't believe that they actually condone this shit. But I mean, outside of him doing interviews, everybody is he doing anything? Well, ain't nothing really he can do, right?
I spoke to his girlfriend the other day. She said he is swamped, and everybody's going to be trying to get a part of it now. I guarantee you the party will start running to him. Oh my God, brother, I'm so sorry to hear what you're going through. Again, it's just smoke and mirrors. You could have done a lot before then. I'm going to say something else too. Did Jeff, I'm not trying to be offend him or not. He's a big Christian and, goes to a lot of the churches. Where the hell was the churches? That's another one that's just as corrupt as the family courts, if you ask me.
Yeah, they get a big beneficial from women who donate to the church. We get it all the time.
Well, and they're 501c3 too. So if they stand behind these issues, we might lose some money. There was a 9-year-old boy that is about to be castrated because there was cowards. That's what they were. They were cowards. Every single one of them, from the media to the politicians to the churches, they would not stand for this kid. And if you can't stand for that, man, you can't stand for anything.
And that's what I don't understand. I thought that it's about, what's right, what I'm saying, based off Christian or religious beliefs. And that's what I say, but when you see them talking at these churches, they tell the women that you could do bad all by yourself, and basically the fathers need to do better. And I'm like, really? But I understand why they do it, because them are the biggest consumers, even in the churches. Yep. It's a money grab, even in the church. They would never call out what's really going on, except when it benefits them. Outside of that, no, they would not. Most of them would not.
Getting their 13 pieces of silver. Yep.
Yeah, that's sad. Shout out to Prince of Petty for the $2 donation. She said, "What's that website again?"
Just put it down there in the comments. Followthemoney.org. If you got a state representative, a governor, a senator, a judge, and you want to know where their campaign donations and contributions are coming from, go check it out. Type in anybody's name. You can find out who is giving the money. And, one of the strategies that's been taught in this community for a long time that I think is absolute bullcrap. Understand, because it can be effective sometimes, is if you're going to get an attorney, you need to go find one that's putting money into the judge's campaign, because they're going to be a lot more friendly towards them. Bullcrap, man. That's the reason why the system is the way it is in the first place. Will it be effective for you? Possibly, but it could screw your son or your grandsons later on. We need to quit that crap.
Exactly. Man, that's something. Now, I want to go on to a touchy situation. I want to talk about John Mass, because I remember when he came on your show before all the aftermath happened, and he was just a guy that was just telling his story. When you did that documentary, it pissed me the hell off. And to hear that he got murdered, allegedly, because of him getting custody. Well, not custody. He ended up getting overnight visitations. The stuff that he went through, and he still get murdered. That really hurt me. That really hurt me. Let's talk about that.
So, Thanksgiving of 2020, I did a Thanksgiving show, and those aren't the highest rated shows. It's not about ratings or any of that anyway. It was here is your place that if during this time that you should be with your family, you don't have your family, come on, and we want to provide support to these alienated parents. John was the first caller, and the history with John is, he had been following me since the very beginning, and John was different. There were several times that John had just hit me up in my messages just to say, hey, man, take care of yourself. I'm watching you, but please take care of yourself. And thank you so much for what you're doing. He didn't ask for anything. He wasn't, hey, I need you to talk about my case or any of that. He would send encouragement. And then that Thanksgiving, he was the first one that signed up. And knowing what John had been through, I did not bring him on the screen. We didn't say his name. We didn't say his kids' names, because here's the thing. Anything you say and or do will be used against you in a court of law. This guy had been through enough, and I wanted him to be able to freely speak without it being used against him. So that Thanksgiving, he told everybody about what he was going through. And the weirdest thing is, what you found out later, I remember thinking, I really think I need to talk to this guy. And I never did stuff like this. I think I interviewed like 30 people for that Thanksgiving special. And every one of them, once they got off, I went on to the next person. But when it came to John, I turned off the recording and I popped him on the screen and said, hey, man, I want to talk to you. And we just sat there and talked for a while. Well, there's a little bit of PTSD with what we do, because you never know what you're going to hear.
Yes,
and
that's true.
I've seen kids die. I've seen parents that are getting killed. I've seen all kinds of stuff that's going on in this community. I had a 7-year-old that died from crystal meth poisoning from her mom, where she had drank her water bong. And it's some crazy stuff. Guys that are constantly saying, hey, man, I'm going to kill myself. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, I get
and so now that I'm a little bit older, I have to wake up in the middle of the night and drain the main vein. Okay. And one of the crazy things is like, before I can do anything, the first thing I do is grab my phone and make sure everybody's okay. And I woke up one night feeling something was off, and I grabbed my phone, and there was a message from a Betty Troyer. I don't know who a Betty Troyer is, but it said, this is urgent. I need to talk to you. And I said, what's going on? She said, John Mass was my brother. He was on your show a couple of months ago. He got killed when he went to go pick up his kids yesterday. And dude, like, I remember jumping up, running through my house, screaming to the top of my lungs, because it hit me. This is a guy that had just came to my show wanting to get out his story. And I didn't realize how bad it was. I mean, we hear all day long, every day, these guys that are saying, man, this is my case. I've got one of the worst cases you'll ever hear. And I'm like, man, I've heard your case 100 times today. Yeah. And so, but John never did that, but he did tell me, Eric, my case is really bad. And it was one of those, oh my God, he was dead. So we were on our way to go up to Michigan to film our first documentary on another case that had happened early on Dad Talk, where a 14-year-old boy was burned in a hotel while his mom was making drugs. He lived. And we helped save that kid's life, man. It is an amazing story, but he's doing good now. He's 18, got him a girlfriend, whole 9 yards. He's had 200 something surgeries to date. But when we heard this, I reached out to the Mass family and said, I want to come document this. I was like, John would want people to know what's going on. I will come there. Where do I got to go? And so we found out that the funeral was going to be in Montana. Man, just to fly my crew out there, because it was me, Melissa Isaac, and Robert Garza. It was like $5,000 just to get out west. I had never been out west before. Wherever you go out west, add on about 2 to 3 hours of driving time, if not 6, plus a rental car, because you don't just go straight to where you're going. They don't have many major airports. So we had to fly into Spokane, Washington, get in a rental car, drive through Idaho, get to Montana. And what's crazy, man, is it was my first time interviewing a family during something like this with the custody exchange murders. So I knew that there were some really raw feelings. John had just got killed. But when you watch I Stand With John, we are actually in the back room of the funeral home with caskets surrounding us, interviewing the Mass family with John's body in the next room. And then they wanted me to walk with him, and I was standing over his casket. And I'll give you some of the details I didn't put in the documentary, guys.
Of course.
But John was working like 3 jobs to be able to fund this fight. All right. One of his side jobs that he was doing is he was making ammo at one of the ammunition factories. And I remember looking at John in the casket and seeing the tethered fingers, and like they were just dyed black. You could see his hands, how hard of a worker he was. And that's something it's been stuck in my head ever since. And man, dude, if I made that documentary today, it would be a much different than I Stand with John. And we do got something coming up that's going to give even more of those details. It's been 2 years ago. Still haven't had a court date on it yet. But every day I still find out more stuff. John documented everything. And if you could see what this guy went through trying to be a dad.
Yeah.
8 years of marriage, nothing ever happened. Gets accused of domestic violence. And they said it was in a restaurant. His ex said it was in a restaurant. So he went to the restaurant and said, can I have the video so I can just show the judge I didn't do what she said I did? He thought it was going to be that easy, guys. And it should be that easy if you got evidence. So he goes to the court and the judge says, we don't have anything to play it with.
Yeah, right.
So they told John, you can either take the charge and go ahead and see your kids, or if you plead not guilty, you might face a bigger consequence, and it might take you even longer to see your kids. He went ahead and pled guilty. 1 month later, he filed for divorce because somebody made a false allegation against him. Then another allegation comes in 1 month after filing for divorce. She said he sexually molested the kids. And then that's when it started. So now it goes to family court. A new judge is on there. And I got to give props to this judge. That judge said, I want to see the tape.
Right.
And he had already pled guilty to it, but she said, no, I want to get back in this. I want to see the tape. They looked at the tape. That judge said he didn't do any of the things that you said he did. And that calls into question every one of these allegations that you're making against this man. So John got exonerated of that.
Good.
But it took him a couple of years after that, fighting hundreds of thousands of dollars to prove. He proved every way he could that he didn't do any of these things, guys. And yeah, the day that he was set, they said, and let me tell you something about custody exchange murders. They say, do it in public, do it at police station. A majority of these custody exchange murders are happening at police stations.
They don't care.
Happening in public places. That doesn't stop somebody from killing somebody. Tyrone Darling was killed at Lisa's Chicken.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he was at work. He was at work.
He was going to work, man. He was going to work.
Yep.
But it's just a sad thing, dude. Like, I mean, when he was there, he sees his ex's car pulling up, so he thinks she's coming. It was his ex-father-in-law who pulled up, he shot him 3 times. And as John's fighting for his life on the ground, ex pulls up with the kids in the car, and they're sitting there watching their dad die. Yep. That's the reality. And if that's not a baby mama terrorist, I don't know what is.
Exactly. And he had his sister with him, right?
So his sister and his brother, they were former Amish. They left the Amish back in 2004. So they had a huge family. Huge. He's got a bunch of siblings. I know all their names now, but I did in the beginning. It was very hard. But his brother and sister, when they heard that John was going to get the kids that day, said, John, we're coming. And they live like 4 hours away. And he said, no, you don't have to do that. I got it. They went anyway. So they were sitting in the parking lot, and they watched this go down too, man. Mm-hmm. It was just, it's sad all the way around. You couldn't have met a more beautiful family, man. I mean, just good, salt of the earth people. And that was another thing. Once John got accused of a sexual allegation, again, remember, from like 1980 until 2004, he grew up Amish, no electricity, no running car, none of that. So he was socially awkward, right? This world was still somewhat new to him, and he wanted to think the best out of everybody. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that's not the way this world goes when you meet one of these baby mama terrorists. It's just not.
Exactly. No, exactly. It's definitely an unfortunate situation. Shout out to Prince of Petty for the $2 donation. He said, my marriage ended because of false allegations too. And everybody put the ones in for Prince of Petty. You just can't make this up. You just cannot make this shit up. You just can't. Shout out to you, brother. You just can't.
Silver bullets.
Exactly. Now let me ask you this, pissed off parent. I gotta ask you this.
All right.
Pissed off parent. It's to me, now I had no problem with it. You should be a pissed off parent, but I think the people, the majority will look at pissed off parents just as bad as looking at the fuck child support hat. Did you get any backlash for coming out with pissed off parent?
What was weird is it was a lot of people in the movement. I mean, I've talked to prospective legislators, well, in Texas,
Yeah.
and one, I've been told they love it. I've been told that down in Austin, where we all have our legislative stuff, that name is known. That they oh yeah, the pissed off parent guy's website, or did you see that thing by pissed off parent, or they talk about it. So yeah, I mean, as far as the legislators are concerned, it seems like they enjoy. It's one they'll never forget. That's the one of the things I've been told is they'll never forget that name. But no, a lot of the pushback I got was people in the movement that didn't want their polished three-piece suit, whatever, tarnished or something. And I said, again, I'm a pissed off parent. That's how the name came about. I was thinking about trying to find some happy, I'm here fighting, and nothing wrong with groups that do it that way. But I'm sitting there and I go, well, I'm pissed off. This is wrong and it needs to be fixed. I'm pissed off. I'm a pissed off parent. And my wife goes, that's what you should name it. And that's how it happened.
Let me ask you this, brother. What happened when you said, I'm not changing this. I'm not going to change it. I'm not about to do this for you. I'm a pissed off parent and I'm going to leave it that way. What was the aftermath of that?
People said they would not share my content. They wouldn't recommend it, wouldn't talk to, if they had an opportunity to share no matter what I came up with. I do videos and documents and trying to get the word out in my own special way. And they said that no matter what I put out there, they would not recommend it or share it with people because of the name. They didn't want people to be offended.
Even if it was some that was true, some that everybody need to learn and watch. They said they're not doing it.
Mm-hmm. They are not doing it. Yeah, I mean, I have like one of my cartoon videos that walks you through the history of Title 4D from beginning to end and gives examples. They just said, hey, because it's pissed off parent, they won't do it.
And this is the problem that I have with a lot of other organs. That's why I just stay away and just do what I do, unfortunately. Because my thing is, regardless of who it's coming from, if it's the truth and it's spreading awareness, then I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah.
And that makes me question, is you really about change and spreading awareness, or is you really about a commercial come up?
Yeah, it seems like they want to get paid off. Well, my website has a section called Abuse by Women, and it is a full page of data, videos, you name it, where women are acting crazy. And I've had people tell me, you need to take that down. It's going to send the wrong message.
What's the wrong message of men get abused too? But I'm asking, what is the wrong message of men get abused just as much as women? It's at an all-time high, and this has been going on, and we need to be aware that this can happen to men too. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, see, that's what I'm saying, man.
Can I interject here for a second?
Oh, go ahead, brother.
I'm going to tell you, I'm thankful for all the mentors that we've had, and it's kind of taught me this, but I'll tell you where I think a lot of this problem comes from is they're trying to make it homogenized, pasteurized, and sanitized for your convenience because we don't want any of the legislators getting the idea that we're these angry deadbeat dads. Well, if those legislators are just going to judge us upon that and not listen to what we got to say in the first place, there's your problem. Right. Okay. But they're so afraid of giving this bad image because that bias against men is so bad. I have been told for years, guys, do not talk about dads. Now, my name doesn't sound that controversial. Dad Talk Today. Yeah. Do you know I had a whole online, a movement trying to get me to take the dad out of Dad Talk at one point in time?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, dude. They didn't want me. They wanted me to do Parent Talk. And Eric, if you're going to do this, you can't talk about dads too much. You talk about dads too much. Are you freaking kidding me, man? And I ain't going to lie to you very early on because I want to be, I want to be moldable. I know there's people that was there before me. They might have seen some stuff that I haven't seen. I wanted to listen to them. So I became a little bit more neutral. And then it didn't take long, man. I remember a guy getting on my page, telling one of the moms too, people that get in there and try to shut the dads up. There's you got thousands of places that you can go to be proud of who you are. Dad Talk is the one place that I have to go. Can you please not let me speak? And I was like, you son of a bitch, dude. you better get back in here and fight, you know, your original fight, and stop letting people get in your head. Imagine, you know, Monday would be Martin Luther King Day. Imagine somebody telling Martin Luther King, don't talk about black people, but I'm fighting for the black race and their rights. You want to tell dad talk? You want to tell these guys that they can't talk about dads? You don't want to say, you can't say that you're pissed off. You can't talk bad about child support. Child support is the reason why this system is the way that it is. And these are guys that are scared of their own shadow and that they might cause some controversy. Dude, can it? Well, I don't want to say that because it always can, but it's pretty bad right now. I don't know how much worse it can get than it already is.
Exactly.
And it's gotten that way because we have been silent and we've been complacent.
Exactly. And that's why I said in the part one, the worst thing man has ever did was give a fuck, because and worry about what somebody else say and stuff like that. Yeah. You spread the truth and you stand on it. When we start putting our head in the sand and leaving and sitting around with the shades drawn and everything. So, and that's what I'm saying, man. You talking about, to me, again, when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, is you really about change, or is you about getting yours?
I was just having a conversation with someone earlier. Everyone knows about the Preborn Bill Act that is making its way, through the ranks here. And I had a person actually tell me, someone that was actually within the movement, that they were actually believe that one of the people that's proposing the bill in Texas did not know that Title 4D is going to be tied to the Preborn Bill Act. And I was also told by him that most legislators don't understand or don't know anything about Title 4D.
Now, I could believe that. Now, speaking of that, a brother just asked, what is Title 4D? Any one of y'all want to explain that?
Well, Dwayne? Oh, well, I mean, all right. We was talking about Mr. Reagan earlier today. When Reagan, before he was your president, he was a governor in California, and he started something called no-fault divorce. Now, he later came back and said it was the worst thing he did when he was in office because divorce skyrocketed. He also said, like, the scariest words he ever heard in his life is, hey, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. That needs to be flown around everywhere. But he later said, worst thing I ever did, because divorce just skyrocketed. At that point in time, there was a lot of single moms that were going and saying, hey, we were homemakers and now we don't have anything to exist off of. So they were getting a lot of government assistance. And at some point in time, the states were like, hey, we're getting drained here. So the federal government made Title 4D of the Social Security Act that was going to give back an incentive based off of how much was paid in child support.
Yep.
Okay. And so if you look back at this, guys, it's been in their best interest for quite a while now that whoever makes the most money in the house, which most of the time was going to be a dad, okay, that he gets the least amount of time with his kids, because that makes him pay the max in child support. Because guess what? If he pays the max in child support, guess who profits from that? The states. The states do. And there's a lot more intricacies to it, but that's been the condensed down version that I've gave. Maybe you got some more that you want to add on to that, Dwayne.
Yeah, just to kind of give a quick 30-second view. And again, you go to pissoffparent.com across all the different platforms. And I have a video that you can then see the data on it. But, back in the 1920s, 1930s, it was a single income family. And so, dad would go off to work, mom would stay home. And we would have a scenario where, dad passed away while working the coal mines, whatever he was doing. And so they created that. I believe it was the AFDC, but it was 1935-ish, and that was to help support families where the father had passed away or left. I mean, it did happen, but it was a very rare event. And then so we had that, kept going forward. The divorces were still pretty rare. Back in 1969, then Governor Ronald Reagan passed no-fault divorce. The rest of the country followed suit. And then there was that combined with the third wave feminist movement, and the change in morals and all that, basically caused divorce to skyrocket. Everyone said, hey, I don't want to be married. I'm getting a divorce. They get divorced, and then they go, wait, I don't have a job. I don't have skills. I don't have anything. I'm going on welfare. The states were then getting hit with, food stamps and welfare and all those challenges there, and they was bankrupting the states. And they said, federal government, you need to help us out here. They went ahead and created, I'm trying to remember the name of the thing. It's on the video. I think it was aid to dependent children, but they went ahead and that's where they inserted Title 4D into the Social Security Act Sorry, I'm trying to remember the dates and the names. And it basically created funding or matching funds for collecting child support from the states to try to help them out to start, getting money from the other parent. Things were going along good. There were some little changes in there. And then in the 90s, Bill Clinton passed a bill, again, also on the website, passed a bill, the Deadbeat Dad Act or the Deadbeat Parent Act, and the I can't remember the other phrase for it. And that basically incentivized and required that they be on that child support program, or they can't get federal funding. That federal funding has grown over the decades. And so then later the state started figuring out, hey, if I get more child support, I get more federal funding from the government for doing that. So then they started changing drastically and making a concerted effort to change the way custody worked for families to maximize the child support program. So when you make your payment, it goes through your state's clearinghouse, and then that's the enforcement part of child support. They send that information off to the federal government. Government verifies everything and then sends a percentage, 66 cents in the dollar. That's what you'll hear that for those efforts back to the state. And the states have realized that there's a lot of money there. I like to pick on Texas, one, because I'm there too, is year over year, we get last year we received an $89 million bonus check that's separate and above everything else for our efforts. If we continue the child support collections, enforcement, DNA, all those things, and it increases year over year. But we received an $89 million bonus check, and then we get, or obviously the Attorney General gets usually around $700 to $800 million in recovery. I like to call it recovery for those efforts. That's why the OAG spends most of the Office of the Attorney General spends most of their time and effort on child support collections, because if you had a business that you had 10 employees, you had to pay all 10 of them. But if you have the government saying, hey, I'll cover 66% of that, what would you do in your business? But that's in a nutshell, Title 4D. Again, there's other places to get it, but pissedoffparent.com has some videos, documentation that you can review that walks you through and shows you the documents. But again, that's what Title 4D is. Hopefully I didn't go too Rain Man there.
No, I wanted you to know. Let them know, because I talk about the Title 4D, and I tell people all the time, child support wasn't the problem; it was Title 4D.
Right.
And unfortunately, the way child support used to be is not like it is now. And I said this earlier. These was for married women. This was not for a woman who just have a kid and do an oopsie or have it with somebody they really didn't want it with.
Right.
Anybody can go up in there. And that made me think about a brother in New York who was married. They was married for over 10 years. They had 2 children. He had a son and a daughter. And he actually thought that what was going to happen was he was going to get automatic equal parent at the time. And that's what he wanted, because she basically just changed. They for some reason, it's like, to me, in my opinion, they like, I got you now. So I can do I could be the true me. So he didn't leave out that house. He didn't leave. They was going through divorce. And I told him, I said, that judge gonna give you every other weekend. I said, he gonna tell you to get out that house. He's gonna keep the house. And he didn't believe it. He said, no, I've been married. I said, I don't see that. And he had a lawyer, and he called me out the blue and said, I don't believe this bullshit. That's what he told me. I said, what happened? He said, they told me I had to leave the house, and I get every other weekend.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm trying to say. In New York, in my opinion, the worst is family court.
Mafia.
Yeah, the family court in the United States, then California, then Texas, then probably Michigan, Florida, and go on to Illinois. So, I mean, they all bad. They all one of the same. They all might got a little difference of rules, like New York, Florida. I don't know about California, but you on child support till you 21 years old, whether you go to school or not.
Crazy thing is, like, when we went to all those states, New York was the only one. A lot of those politicians talk a good game and say they want to help, and they never do it. But the ones in New York wouldn't even meet with us. You got a different element that's going on up there in New York. Like he was saying, mafia, cartel.
That's what they are.
You name it. And it's there's a lot twisted into that. Those family courts are messed up, dude.
Yeah, I know men who got who was police officers and military men who got destroyed off false allegation, and the judge knew it was false allegation, but it was more beneficial to sabotage him and his livelihood. People lost their careers in New York. I'm just saying, it's definitely crazy. What I want to know also, because I'm surprised that they had an issue with dad talk, but now why they said it, this ain't about men, even though it is about men. Let's talk about the backlash from me, because I already know, even before we even decided to do this, when we talked, a couple people knew we talked, and maybe somebody mentioned me or you mentioned me, and they like, don't fool with him. Don't fool with him. He's not good for this movement, or he's not good for this. I want to know, because I remember Carnell told me before he got on, people was telling him, don't do it. I didn't know he had got the backlash after the fact, even though it was a good dialogue and it was about paternity fraud and truth. So I want to know.
Not saying I'm a psychic or anything, but I never had anybody tell me that.
No,
I already knew what was going to happen, because look, they get offended at dad talk. I know they're going to get mad at fuck child support.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to get mad at pissed off parent. But I mean, dad talk, seriously. And it's only because we talk about dads. Guys, look, anything that's got to deal with men, masculinity, dads, fathers, it's going to be attacked, and they're going to find something. And these are people that no matter what you do, they're never going to be pleased, because they just want you to shut up. I am really convinced that a lot of people in this movement right now, they will only start telling you you're doing something wrong because they're afraid that you're doing something right, and it's not their name on the marquee. That's all it is, brother.
Exactly. Now, let me ask you this. When did you see the light when it came to that? Because I realized that a while back, before I even started on YouTube, that a lot of these fathers' rights movement are not really about the best interests of the child and the father. A lot of them are really about commercial, getting that nonprofit, getting that commercial, shake hands with the media and shake hands with the politicians. And they just using that name as a front. When did you realize that a lot of these organizations was full of shit?
Very early on.
Oh, you
because
did? Okay. Yeah, okay.
They all reached out to me. I mean, there was a lot of them that there was a point in time I was doing more for the other organizations than I was doing for Dad Talk, because it wasn't about me. Right. I want to do this, and if I can help you, I can. But dude, like, you go to these places and they'll have all these volunteers, and hurt people hurt other people. And I would watch all these different group chats that they got. It reminded me of church in a way. It was nothing but a bunch of big gossip. And I'm like, these guys are never going to get anything done, because it's dog eat dog. And if I don't have the spotlight, I don't want to do it. And they're always just doing this. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to my corner. I'm going to do what I do, and the hell with you, because I'm here to make a difference. I ain't here to do all that crap. And, you know, I think a lot of them are still doing that same crap. They are. And in that time, look at what we've done. And they've tried to attack Dad Talk. Look what we've done. My work speaks for itself. Anything that we said we was going to do, we've done a lot in the past 3.5 years. But this movement is just ass backwards, dude. It is ass backwards. It's people. It's the blind leading the blind, if you want to know the truth. And that's it. We can't do better than you. So let's put down what you're doing and copy you. The same people that have put you down, I copy you.
So you telling me you even got people trying to set you up that's part of the so-called fathers' rights movement? Like, can you name some of these? Because I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't get into it, man. But I mean, I sat there like about a year ago. There was videos going out that I was making $80,000 a month, guys. $80,000 a month. I live in a mobile home in Georgia. I haven't made $80,000 a month in my life. I didn't make $80,000 that year. And what money I had come in 43 states. Do you know what it cost to fly there and to get hotels and rental cars? Yeah. But what it was is because I had people that was contributing so that I could go to those conferences, so I could get those hotels, and so I could get those airplanes. And Dad Talk was actually doing something, and your place that just sits there and does nothing but with it. And I just said, block and move on. They get mad when I block, but I'm just like this. Look, dude, you ain't got nothing to bring into my life, and all you want to do is get native. Get the hell on away from me. I got a job to do here. I'm here for a reason. If that's what you want to do, you go find somebody else to do it with. I'm not dancing with you. I'm not playing your game.
Exactly. And I tell people all the time, that when it comes to a baby mama terrorist, you don't negotiate with terrorists. So if you ain't gonna negotiate with terrorists, then why negotiate with them? Shout out to Kosha Kanishi for the $5 donation. He said fatherhood and masculinity matters.
Yes, it does.
He's a licensed therapist in North Carolina, and he got his own channel. Please subscribe to his channel. And if anybody's out there in North Carolina and you need therapy, he's the guy to go to. He's certified, licensed, and he got everything that you need.
Sweet.
Yes. And you definitely, as fathers going through the struggle and going through this war, I tell every man, if you can't get the therapy, if you can, get it. Get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a person that knows how to give therapy, you know, with men, a men's therapist is amazing. Just make sure you got somebody that knows what they're doing. So that's awesome. I got one myself.
Yeah. No. And I tell people all the time that, you know, I'd rather for you to do that than end up going to jail because you did something that you may regret. And y'all know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah, us men, we need to have our outlets. We need to be able to, you know, share and talk about things. You know, Erica's wanting to have. Actually, I just had a crazy thought, but we talk about, you know, other things that impact men, ways that we can get these emotions and things like. We were even talking about, you know, talking about other things like testosterone injections, prostate exams. And now that I'm thinking about that, I would love for us to have a prostate exam discussion and then have one of these.
I was about to say have one on the show. No, sir.
Not on the show, but have a woman come in and say, well, prostate cancer happens to women too, which it doesn't. But that'd be a good one. I'm hoping nothing would ever happen on that show. A woman coming in saying it happens to women too on the prostate show. I mean, they can't.
Well, you know what? That's what they said. And that's another thing. I had a difference of opinion when they said that women are alienated off, you know, when it comes to family court. And that's when I said, maybe a select few, maybe
it does happen,
but it doesn't happen as much as men because y'all get 90% of custody. Even the ones they know that's not fit, even the ones is not stable, the ones who get wick and everything else. And this man got a career, he got a home, he got a structure, he got a traditional family unit. And no, he's just good to pay the money.
Yep, we're a paycheck. That's all we are to children in the court size, so they can get their paycheck. And it's just ridiculous.
You know, it's just so weird for us as men to hear some of these things. I got to bring it up. It's not not too long before I got on this. I was on the phone with Carnell. And he was like, Eric, you need to go get yourself checked. When's the last time you had your blood drawn? When's the last time you had your prostate exam, your colonoscopy and all this? I was like, Carnell, I ain't got time for it. And he's like, man, your car breaks down. You got to do that preventive maintenance. And he sat there for about 30 minutes telling me to go get this stuff. And he said, Eric, why can't we as men talk about that more? We need to start having that conversation. And it's very true. Us men, we, you know, in order to be that protector and that provider, and because we want to get out there and we want to work hard, sometimes we put ourselves on the back burner. Yeah, dude, I'm the world's worst. I haven't got all my blood drawn and tested like 15 years. And I'm afraid of that finger at the doctor. I'm not going to lie to you. I think most of us are afraid of that finger. I don't like stuff going up there. And I've had one of those prostate exams. I have PTSD from it.
I had it done a couple of times, and actually, I'll be 44 in March, and I said this year I'm gonna do a colonoscopy for the first time. They say we could do it at 45, 50, but I'm not waiting.
I would get the colonoscopy before I would the prostate exam. I'm going to tell you, the colonoscopy, you're knocked out, and all you do is you fart really bad when you wake up. But when you're awake, and then that doctor's, you know, putting that jelly finger up you. Nah, dude, that's just a violation of the man code. I don't believe in it.
That's any man in right mind would not be, you know, happy to do it, but understand that it's a reason to have it done.
Yes, it is. I'm just making it funny, guys. Please go and get it done.
That's true. What man in right mind could be like, okay, I'm cool with this.
Yeah, you want to have, yeah. What's scary though is when you see the doctor's pants next to yours at the exam.
Exactly.
Am I going there? Did I just
that sounds like you got experience. I want to know about it.
I want to give a shout out to Dallas D. She's also from Texas. Shout out to her $20 donation. Said, just supporting the content. Great show, Mr. Palmer. Cows Gang. Me and her will be live tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We're going to talk about something very interesting. 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. We back, y'all. Now, speaking, and also shout out to Jay Jermaine for being a new member of the court. Cows Gang, shout out to you, my brother. Now, speaking of Cornell Smith, before we get off here, we got another 15 minutes. We definitely got to talk about paternity fraud. And I said this earlier. I said, if you got 30% of men who are biologically not the father and paying child support, and these are married men, then don't you think fuck the child support is justified? Because when they find out these men are not the father, they still say you got to pay.
Yep.
Dude. So there's like 4 areas that Cornell goes through, and like, man, not to give too much of a plug out there, but you know, I keep this on my desk right here.
Yeah.
Trapped by law. Stop paying child support for paternity fraud. This is a man that went and got a legislation passed in 11 different states. But could you imagine finding out a kid that I fathered for 11 years was never mine in the first place, and to have one of these judges tell you should have found out sooner. Yeah. So now you got to keep paying child support, and the kid you thought was yours, you can't see him. I mean, that's the bull crap that these guys are going through, man. But say one of these dads that are married and they have a kid with their wife, they automatically think that was my kid because this happened during marriage.
Right.
So what do? They get you to sign that birth certificate. You done messed up, Ron. You done messed up, because I tell you, you just acknowledged paternity for that. I don't need a paternity test. I mean, dude, Cornell talks about pastors and actors and all these people that find out that they were never the dad in the first place. Guys, 1 out of 33 or 1 out of 3 people that end up getting the paternity test find out they were not the dad.
Yes.
That's alarming.
Yes. And the scary thing about what our government's doing is everyone, I believe, now knows about the preborn bill act that is being pushed. There's actually, I think, 3 or 4 at this point that is going to be set up if passed. That when a woman names a man as the baby's father before the baby's born, he will automatically get put on child support, and of course those Title funds will also be attached to that. But there's one of the bills that's being pushed through that is saying that the woman is not required to get a DNA test, so she is just to be believed.
Whoa! I saw that. I'm going Florida boy. Holy crap. I'm going through this now, and the child is 22 years old. Dude, Cornell was telling me about this guy, y'all. This is in the news right now. He had a older son that died, and they didn't know his medical information because this guy that he thought was his father was not his dad, so he didn't have the accurate medical information. After the child passed away, they did a DNA test, and this father found out this kid that he loved through his whole life was not his. And so the baby mama terrorist, this is a baby mama terrorist for real.
Right.
It's so bitter after this kid had already died, she went and took the father's name off of the tombstone. It's going on right now, dude. I mean, like, how cold-hearted do you gotta be?
How did you find out about that?
That Cornell, dude, that's one of the cases that Cornell's falling. That it's in Australia. And guys,
ooh,
as you see, I'm sporting some other groups from all the way across the world right here. Like I reached out and I've been meeting with the guys from Australia, England, Canada. It's the same in every single one of these countries. They call these things different.
Yeah.
But the paternity fraud, the alienation, they got their own version of Title 4D. The false allegations are even worse over there, dude.
It's worse than South Korea when it comes to false allegations.
Oh, yeah.
What country?
Yes.
Cornell was telling us about not Panama. There's a country that said 70% of the fathers there are not the father.
That's Jamaica, ain't it?
Jamaica. That was it.
70%. Yeah, Jamaica.
That's Jamaica, man. I told you, I've been doing my research. This is a worldwide problem. They want to tell you that men ain't trying to be fathered, men are dead. And I'm like, well, this is a worldwide situation. It's a situation in Ecuador where the father changed his gender to be a mother in order to get custody.
Smart man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I saw it.
Smart man.
I'm gonna use my button. Yes, sir. We've been wanting to see it for a while.
But you saying that these men don't want to be fathered, he had to change his gender to be classified as a woman or a mother in order to get custody. And that's how he got custody. So don't tell me that this system is designed for what's best interest for the children. No, it's designed to look out for you.
Could you imagine being the judge that ends up seeing this? Oh, he changed his what? We're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, how they gonna do it? Yeah.
The dad's now a mom. What am I gonna do now?
Right. And that don't make no sense. That we gotta go. Well, he had to go. This was in Ecuador. Who'd have thought that they go through in Ecuador? And they said it when I read the article. We're gonna talk about this this week. That they said that fathers don't have no rights over there either. So this is not just the United States of America. This is not just the good old USA, because y'all say, well, that's just y'all want to be different. No, this is a problem. And that's how I say, I got to the point where most of these people know this, but they don't want it to change because it benefits them as the way it is. That's all to it.
Well, the whole thing, the preborn bill and the DNA testing, it's even more insidious because we talk about the child support angle. Let's look at the medical records. We had a kid, I believe, died because he thought it was the father he thought was his was actually not his father, and his actual father had a medical condition that if they would have caught it early enough, he could have survived. And had the woman come clean, that kid would still be alive. That's, one of the big reasons for these DNA tests. I know we talk about child support and all that, but it's clean medical history that, that, my family has high cholesterol. I want to make sure my kids get tested for high cholesterol. That is one of the big reasons. And anyone that argues against that, the believe all women crowd and all other nonsense, that is the medical history is a big thing. Children are dying for profit because these judges and legislators want to make money off of this, and it's wrong.
Yeah, you're right. Shout out to Dallas D once again for the $2 donation. She said, I call that clump of sale support. I agree. You know what? Speaking of that, I think it was you, Eric, that was doing this. Who was the father that lost his son from cancer?
Henderson.
The Henderson
down
case.
Here in Texas, down in my county, actually.
And he was still not allowed to be, I just saw that, Eric. Okay, cool. And he was still alienated to almost to the very end. The grandparents was able to see the child longer than he was able to. We talked.
Well, and it's a confusing case. Is these details? None of them make sense, and it's even hard for me to follow sometimes. But when the time David had reached out to me, he found out one day from a friend that his son that had been battling cancer for a couple of years had 2 weeks left to live. The doctor had said it's 2 weeks. No joke, dude. Well, because it fell under mom's vacation time with custody, they were saying that he wasn't able to go see. Now, I want you to say, they talk about the system's rigged and everything. It definitely is. But this father was actually an ex-cop. He was an ex-cop. His best friend is the sheriff of Fort Worth. And he is being held back from seeing this kid. So he came on Dad Talk and everybody's mind was blown. This father had to do something very bad to not be able to see his kid that's dying of cancer. This was one of those cases where the false allegations wasn't there. It really, there was no big smoking gun. And even if they say that he had the kid's dying, dude. The kid's dying. But this was a father that had a clean record and is being held back. And when he came on Dad Talk, dude, I didn't tell anybody to do this, but he called me and he said, dude, he said, the courts just called me and said that their phone lines have been going off the hook. They haven't been able to put him down, and said they called and said, would you please tell everybody to stop calling us? They did an emergency hearing, and then he got an order that he was able to see his kid for 2 1-hour visits per day.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, after he had 2 1-hour visits per day, and while his kids got 2 weeks left to live. Well, it was around Father's Day. so that they said that the grandparents would have a couple hours to go over there on Father's Day and say goodbye to this child. But here's the deal. The boy knew he was a sick, and he had told his parents and his family before this, if this time was to come and I'm about to die, don't tell me, because I don't want to sit there on my last days worrying about, is it about to happen? Is it about to happen? Don't tell me. So here's these grandparents that got to go over on Father's Day and tell this kid bye that doesn't even know he's dying. And he was smart. I'm sure he knew something was up, but they couldn't tell him bye. But that's how those grandparents got treated, like prisoners, dude. And so we flew over there. We held a rally for him, doing everything we could. And I was trying to document this thing, dude. And it was so heartbreaking because on that last day, I didn't want to leave because something just didn't feel right. And we're making a documentary on that one too. We've got a lot of footage shot on there.
Good.
It'll break your heart.
Talked about it. I talked about it.
Yeah, dude. When I got back to Georgia, I literally pulled up in my driveway, and as I was walking up the steps to go in my house door, I got a call, and it was from Fort Worth, Texas. And when I answered it, it was a girl crying, and I already knew. They said he just passed, dude. It was 2 weeks to the date when he found this out. They had 2 separate funerals. That's how bad this got between mom and dad. They had 2 separate funerals, and Dwayne, you was there.
Yeah, I was at at the funeral. It was so weird. I mean, they had 2 pastors there at the gravesite. They had, one service, and then they moved Corbin to the other service that I was, allowed to go to. And they had a separate one there, and then everyone met at the cemetery. But they had 2 separate services. The weird thing is, I don't know if you want to go into it and tell me to stop, but I'd say allegedly. Corbin had a very rare type of cancer, and he was actually the program he was on. He was actually doing much better. He was beating it, but something happened, and the mom decided allegedly to take him off of that to go on to a what's the phrase?
I heard about that.
Okay, you remember reading about that? Whatever study or whatever it was that had no information on it, so he could go to New York. He's actually from Texas, and so went there, and they told him at the hospital there was, I think it was an 85 to 90% success rate for the program he was in here when he was at it in Texas. But when he went there, he couldn't get his seat back because of the way that works. And when he went up there, unfortunately, it didn't work. A judge in opposition to medical professionals, they had a survey done and a bunch of other stuff. Judge Kaiser or Katzer rather, in opposition to all of the evidence that showed it was best to keep him there, said okay to have the mom take the kid for a few months up to New York to have this procedure or special treatment done. And unfortunately, it obviously did not work. But there was not allowed. I mean, he was allowed, I think, two 15-minute phone calls a day. He
wasn't even getting that. They wasn't
even getting that.
Mom was blocking that.
And in Texas, we have a state penal code 2503 custody interference, and she was refusing to allow him to see his child, and nothing was being done about that. There was just it's a horrible story. Again, when the documentary comes out, I'm sure all that information will be in there. But a horrible one of a number. That was actually a really bad one. There's a number of just horrible stories.
Yeah.
With all of this.
Right. And they tell you shouldn't be called pissed off parent or dad talk, or you shouldn't say fuck child support, because I bet you he was still paying child support while his son was on that deathbed. I'm just saying this is shit that they not gonna put on the news. They're not gonna put it out there. They're not gonna talk about it, because if they see shit like this and see what these judges aid assist these terrorists, what's gonna happen is they're gonna have to make some changes, and they're gonna lose money, and they don't want to do that. They don't want to break that machine.
Mr. Palmer, what's that say on your hat right there?
What's this say?
Yeah.
Fuck child support.
Okay.
Yeah, damn right. So, if that don't show you reasons, that story right there, and that's just one of the worst. We got other ones, but I'm just saying, if that don't make you understand what is fuck child support, what it's talking about, that's a prime example. And I don't know how that man feel to lose his son, dying from cancer and not being able to be there for except an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah.
Dude, what sucks is like,
come on, man.
These guys come to these platforms, and I'm glad they do because we're there to represent you at the same time. It's
exactly.
How can the system even allow something like this in the first place? I guarantee you, if that judge or those attorneys had a kid that was dying that only had 2 weeks left, they wouldn't be okay with only having a couple of hour visits or some FaceTime calls. This is criminal here, guys. In Texas, you talk about how in New York is bad, but I'm going to tell you, Texas just keeps surprising me, man. That state down there, holy crap. I think they have like the highest percentage of dads that end up losing custody. Is there anybody else that's above Texas, Dwayne?
Well, as far as the Title 4D funding, no, we win every year, hands down.
I'm talking about the percentage of dads that
custody.
don't win custody.
I just got some OAG data a couple weeks ago. No, we're at 94% plus or minus 94% female to male ratio.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
94% of women get custody of the child in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even surprised.
The national average is around 80%. So the fact that they're almost like 15%, 15% higher in Texas is just keep shocking me. We had the story out there in Texas where the dad had 50-50 custody and mom died in an accident. Well, she had a boyfriend she had been dating for a few months.
6 months.
That ended up fighting this dad for custody of his own daughter. Now, if this had been the mom that was fighting a girlfriend for custody of their kid that she had 50-50 with, we would never be having this conversation. That dad spent $300,000, man,
and counting,
winning custody of his own kid from a boyfriend.
That went to the state Supreme Court.
If one of y'all can, whenever, text me or email me that. I didn't know nothing about that. That's
you didn't?
You got to go to my channel.
Clay case, man. That thing went down, about 2.5 years ago?
Simple force.
Yeah, I will send it to you right now in private chat.
That's I never knew that.
Oh yeah, dude. That was another case that I covered early on. And it sucks, dude, because all of these guys got some horrendous stories. By far, I mean, I understand what you guys are going through, but you got to understand what the media has done. We was talking about this earlier today. 20, 30 years ago, if somebody would have shot up a school, we would have been like, oh my God, the world would have kind of got silent. Nowadays, if it happens, everybody's a little shocked, but they're like, we've heard this before. The media has become so sensational that it's stories like this that really catch people's eyeballs. Oh my God, how did that happen? And then you tell them that the system is broken and it was what caused it. I don't think it's that bad. Yes, the hell it is. There's so many people that are so disconnected from reality of what these family courts are doing. It is shocking, dude. These blue-pilled men out there that are sitting down there putting down other men. I mean, but these stories, dude, like I had the father up in Michigan, Jonathan Vanderhagen. That was the very first story that I had on Dad Talk that went viral. And it was weird how it happened because it was just a little small article up there in Michigan. And I remember seeing he went to jail for talking out about his case on Facebook. Well, what happened? He had a 1.5-year-old baby boy that was born with hydrocephalus, water on the brain. And mom wasn't taking him to his doctor's appointments, was neglecting him. There were several different things that was going on. And Jonathan took her back to court and looked at that judge and said, if you don't give me custody of my son, I'm afraid my son's going to die. That judge told him that they were not taking custody away from my mom and that they was not listening to what he was saying. 2 weeks later, the baby boy died. And that father took off to Facebook and started speaking out. Well, guess what happens when he started speaking out? They put him in jail with a $500,000 bond for threats. He took a picture with a shovel and said, I'm about to dig up all the skeletons in this family court's closet. He was being symbolic with it. He didn't make a threat. And they said that was a terroristic threat and put him in jail with the highest bond that they had seen in that area. And what it really was is they didn't want Jonathan speaking. Right. Because he told them that he told those courts that his kid was going to die. And they came in there, guys. They came in there in the middle of this and said that if you won't talk about this case anymore, we'll let you out. That's our deal with you. If you don't talk about it anymore, we will let you out. Jonathan looked at him and gave him the middle finger and said, F you. My kid is dead. I've got nothing to lose. I'm not shutting up. And dude, this is one of the cases where when he took it to the court, he beat that judge, dude. He beat that judge. And a lot of people in the community treated him like a rock star after that. And it was hard on him because what they didn't see, this is a guy whose son passed away. He ain't celebrating here. There's never been any justice in that case. But there's never been any apologies from that judge neither, that he sat there and told him, my son is going to die. They didn't listen. Nobody listened to him, dude.
Family court got so much blood and pain in their hands. It's pathetic. But they got qualified immunity. These judges got qualified immunity, so they don't give a damn. They not gonna lose their jobs. They have the right to rule it however they see fit, even if they see the bullshit. They have the right. They got qualified immunity,
and they're self-governing. So yes, when you receive a bad ruling in the initial court, and then if you don't do it a certain way, you have to again preserve the record when you go to the Court of Appeals at the appellate court level. They're the same judges. They're all playing golf together. And then you file a complaint with the judiciary. They're all in the same group. Yes. They're going to deny it. It's all self-governing.
That's the problem with that judicial immunity, though, man. When you got a kid that dies because you made the wrong decision, a kid that dies because of that bias that they've got against dads, how in the world does that judge still sit on a bench? How?
Yeah,
how is there no consequences for that judge? That is blood on the hands. The man told you what was going to happen, and you didn't freaking listen. They should be out there rioting at that courthouse.
I'm glad you said that, because we talked about this some days ago about the father who he lived in Texas, but the case is in Illinois, and CPS dropped the ball. The courts dropped the ball. He been trying to get custody of his little girl for years, and the baby mama Tears killed the little girl because she loved the father more than she loved the mama, and she suffocated her and killed her. Yes.
Oh, she loved who more now? I'm sorry.
His daughter, he been fighting to get his daughter. I believe his daughter just made 8 years old at the time. This happened in 2019.
Okay.
He been trying to get custody, calling DCFS and everything. They weren't doing their jobs going out there. And the little girl said that the mother was beating her, and they didn't see no findings and stuff like that. The courts denied him to get custody. And the mother killed that little girl because the little girl loved the dad more than she loved the mama. She suffocated with a plastic bag, and then she's gonna try to pretend like she was trying to commit suicide and put the bag over her head and lay down and shit. So that's what I'm saying. Full of shit.
That's a big one. Custody exchange murders and mom killing their own kids is a big one that the mainstream, they'll report it on like the little local arms in those towns, but they won't let it get to the main platform because they don't want that narrative getting out there. But dude, I had a whole family. It was the only time I had done something like this. I had a whole family. I think it was like 7 or 8 of them. After this was a weird case where the father had custody of his daughter and the mom wanted to see her for a weekend. And he said, you know what? I'm going to do what's right. You want to see your daughter? I'm going to let you see your daughter.
Stuff like that.
It was up in like New Jersey. Okay. Well, mom kidnapped the kid and went all the way to Arizona. So dad spends all his time calling CPS, the cops, everything, trying to find his kid. She ended up stabbing the 7-year-old girl. She had another daughter. She killed that daughter too, killed both of the kids, and then stabbed herself. She's still living though. She didn't finish the job with herself, but killed those 2 little kids because she didn't want those kids to go back to their dads. And it was 2 different dads that was involved. But I had the whole family on right after this little girl got killed and saw those emotions. And it really sucks, dude, because nobody wants to put a family like that on camera and say, tell me how you're feeling.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They've got some really raw emotions right there when something like that happens. But it's all I know to do, Mr. Palmer. It's all I know to do. The world needs to see what these families are going through because the news isn't going to show anything. This is the crap that they try to hide from people. There's people losing their lives. These are their kids that are being killed. These family courts not only have blood on their hands, they have so much blood. You can't even imagine, guys.
Exactly. And that right there, again, fuck child support. Because the only reason why they allow it is because they reap the benefits of the $60 billion business.
What'd you say about child support?
I said that's why it's fuck child support, because they reap the benefits. They reap the benefits off this $60 billion business. They reap the benefits off a father's pain. They reap the benefits off a father's pain.
Yeah, they steal everything they can. And
Yeah.
you know, you've touched on CPS. I mean, I know we've talked about Title 4D and people, you know, hitting pretty here. Title 4E, which is the CPS aspect of it, is almost worse. I mean, we have that famous court case where the CPS agent was trying to successfully get a law passed to where they would be allowed to lie on documents and forms to take children. I mean, they were, I mean, arguing that in court to get that done. I mean, they make billions of dollars each year to steal children and give them to other families. Again, those Title 40 funds. I mean, it's the whole system is corrupt down to the core.
Yes. And speaking of corrupt, it took me a long time, maybe a couple years, to find this. When people sit back and say, well, mothers are the most best fit. Well, why are they the most best fit? Well, because we say so, or because she keeps the child in the stomach for 9 months, because, you know, which the truth is, they're more beneficial when it comes to child support. But I was doing the 2001 and 2006. This is the one I was able to find. This is Statista. This is just as great as CDC. In 2020, 221,372 children in the United States were abused by the mother. Much more than the 138,803 children abused by the father in that year. This is just 2020. So what I was telling y'all earlier, and this was updated, it was published January 26, 2022. We just saw that 221,372 based on mothers, 138,803 on the fathers. Two-parent households is 122,015. Now, I want you to see about the mother and the non-parent, meaning the boyfriend or the girlfriend or the stepfather, whoever, right? In 2020, it was 37,064. When you go on down to the father and the girlfriend, or the father and the boyfriend nowadays, or the father and the stepmother, 69-10. 69-10. And if you look at a lot of these cases of children who being raped, who getting beaten, it's usually with the mother and the boyfriend. And this one of the boyfriends she met off Amazon or eBay or something like that, Craigslist. And they are more around that child than the father.
Oh, dude.
The mother just had the child 3 months ago, and he's babysitting that child. And when you talk about this, you know what I get from instead of them saying, you know what, I didn't know this, you right. You know what I get from them?
How dare you do this to me? How do you live with yourself?
But guess who get 90% custody of our children?
Yep.
See, when you talk about stuff like this, I'm like, well, who's really the best fit? How are they the most abusers? They the most child abusers, the most child neglectors, and cause the most child fatalities. How do they get 90% of custody of our children? And just like you said about the father, if you let this woman continue to have custody, my child's gonna die. There's so many fathers that basically told them judge the same thing, and they rather for the child to die. They do not give a shit about these children. The only ones that give a damn about the children is concerned mothers and concerned fathers, grandparents, but the rest of them don't give a damn about these children.
You know, I'd be curious in asking your audience, and I know we do this over on Dad Talk all the time, but how many of you have an ex that has a new boyfriend or a new husband that she's trying to get your kid to call them daddy? That's a huge one, dude. They try to replace dad as quick as they can.
Yes, put the ones in there, and that's the same one who falls behind the father and the mother and that parent. 37,000
creating those.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I mean, with the case that just went out in Texas, and I talked to the grandma was trying to get custody, but they found this little girl that was dead. The mom and the boyfriend abused this kid to death. And then after the kid died, they just threw her up under the stairs and the body was decomposing. She had a sister that was on the verge of death before CPS finally went in there and did something about it. And the grandma of the dad had been sounding the alarm for a long time, trying to say, this is what this mom is doing. And they didn't listen. But mom and boyfriend, they did it together. Yeah. I mean, it was just how it went, man. It's disgusting.
And this brother said, he answered with one, and she told me my child don't need me anymore. Just pay child support. Yeah, that's what a lot of want to do. That's all it's about. Just pay that child support.
There's other parts of this, like at Christmas time, man, when we were streaming, there was one lady that came in there trying to complain to me. She said, my ex told his child that he didn't have any money to buy him Christmas with because he had to pay the child support, and that was all the money he had, and that the gifts that I'm going to be giving him came from him as well. And I was like, and you're mad? Why? I mean, obviously, maybe, some of these details need to be kept away from the kid. At the same time, if that was all the money that the dad had and he's giving it over to the mom and that's what she's buying the presents with, then they should come from dad too, right? It didn't come from Santa Claus.
She want to be looked at as the one who doing everything for the child. That child support, they'll tell the child they're not getting child support. They'll say that child support ain't shit. Well, if that child support ain't shit and ain't worth a damn, then why don't you take them off child support?
Well, just double standards. We talk about the prostrate exams and the colonoscopies and all these other things that we was talking about earlier. Most of these guys are doing everything they can just to stay in the game, and they don't have any money, let alone go into the freaking medical industry where that money is going to cost them. They don't have anything left because they gave it to this system that is screwing them over time and time again. And not only do they have a lot of blood on their hands from the wrong judgments they made with these kids, but a lot of these parents who aren't able to even get ahead anymore. A lot of these guys are taking themselves out because they think they've got nowhere to turn. Yeah. How many of our guys are committing suicide? If there's somebody in the chat right now, don't do that. We don't need you committing suicide. We need you in here in these comments fighting with us, guys. Stop committing suicide, please. It is not the answer.
It's not.
It is not.
And homicide too, because you got some guys that I had to talk guys from doing homicide as well.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it ain't worth it. It ain't. I tell them it's not worth it.
First thing that comes to my head, that case with Carnell, the mom and the dad got another dad to think that he was the father of their kid. Mom and dad were both in on it. Okay.
Oh, really?
Once the kid gets like 11 years old, he says, okay, kid doesn't look like me, has a DNA test, finds out it wasn't his. Well, because they did a DNA test, mom ends up going to jail for drugs, and now biological father gets custody of the child that had set this other dad up. Guess who that father that was a victim of paternity fraud is now paying child support to?
The father.
Paying child support to the biological father. And you wanting to know why guys are having some of those thoughts in their head? I'll give you two guesses.
Whenever you can, please send me that. I didn't know nothing about that either.
I mean,
yeah, dude. Yeah.
Other than your girl.
Could you imagine paying child support to the bio dad who knew you was a setup? Man.
Oh, it goes deep. There are so many stories on that. And again, our legislators allow it, encourage it. Our judiciary encourages it. And a lot of people, they simp for it. They just, the woman that they had, there meme out there about, if you find out a woman's or a baby's not yours, don't blame the woman. She goes through a lot. I mean,
what?
Yeah, there was a meme out there actually.
Oh, you ain't ever seen that one?
Yeah, that's a good one.
There was a lady that said, like, men, if the DNA confirms that the child is not yours, that doesn't give you a right to stop paying child support. That kid still needs to be supported, and moms go through a lot. What?
You need to find a father or get a job at Walmart. Walmart is always hiring. I don't feel sorry for nobody. If you can't afford that child and you want to put on somebody else, or you talking about he the deadbeat and all that stuff, and just like they tell us, you should have kept your pants zipped. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't.
This man in Carnell was telling me about something the other day I'd never heard of, Mr. Drake and what he did with the hot sauce.
That was me, but I'll let that go.
Dude, I had no idea about that one.
Wait a minute. Okay, hey, can you
Oh,
get
there you go. That's it.
Can you
No, that's not it. Yeah, it is Queen Vivian
now,
down at the bottom.
wait. Now this is where I come in at.
I
what
told
mean,
you.
See what I mean, y'all? For those who looking at it, her name is Queen Vivian. These are the ones that call themselves.
I know where he's going.
Yes, these are the ones that call themselves Queens, Hotep, and Goddess, and all this shit. Be the main ones talking about. Well, what do you say, men? If DNA confirms the baby's not yours, it doesn't change the fact that you must take responsibility of the baby. Women go through a lot in marriages, and women deserve better. Man,
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
these are the ones, and none of y'all say I'm not even surprised. These are the ones who fucked up the black community because of shit like this. This is the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
What's it say on your hat again?
Fuck child support.
Yeah.
These are the ones. These are the ones that I want to put crown on their head and shit like that don't deserve to be crowned. These are the ones.
Queen terrorist.
Oh, yeah. Queen. These them the Ku Klux Klan.
Dude, I mean, we've posted that over on Dad Talk, and this guy, this blue-pilled man, simp, got down in the comments. He was like, that's not even a real account. You're doing this, and you're making it up. You're looking just as bad as the feminists. He's like, I'll reverse image search this, and I'm telling you, it's not on the internet. I went on, and within 30 seconds, I was like, here's your link. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I was like, are you sorry? Come on, apologize. I want to hear it. Because there is people that really think this way, guys. And if we don't do something soon, that's the narrative that they're headed towards. That is really like, we get to do anything we want. There's legislation going through right now that wants to make you pay child support from conception. Yes. And that the mom has the ability to say no to a paternity test. You're the daddy, but I don't have to prove it. Can you imagine that world? I don't want to. That's dangerous.
Dwayne, do me a favor. Go back up to that dummy that said, I wish we could pick our fathers, baby fathers. Actually, yes, another dummy says, I wish we could choose our baby fathers. Actually, you can, motherfucker. That's what I'm talking about. What you mean? What you mean you can't choose? You wish you could choose our baby fathers.
Somebody done brought the cupcake in here.
See what I'm talking about? The shit you hear, the shit, and then people will say, "Yeah, I do too. I wish I could too." You said it, sis. You right, sis. And then I'm looked at as I hate women, but I'm like, no, I hate stupidity and dumb shit. You said, I wish we could choose our baby fathers.
Is she a queen too?
Yeah, she's definitely a queen. Quean, queen.
Man, dude, man.
Yeah,
I tell you what.
Yeah, check abuse by women out on the Pissed Off Parent page. I got gems. This entire page is just filled. With
this on what's on Facebook?
No, pissedoffparent.com.
Oh yeah, put your link.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Tell me why I was swiping on Tinder. I saw my boyfriend. Can men be loyal? Stop asking me why I was on Tinder too. Ooh,
what was she doing on there?
What was you doing on there, girl? What was you doing on there? You was looking for Oscar and Meyer. We know what you was looking for.
Exactly. Yeah. Man, that shit crazy, man.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
Man,
there's a collection of all kinds of stuff that's on there. Talking about domestic violence, who abuses.
World Class said, "I'm lost. How would they not be able to choose their father?" Guys, y'all want to tell him?
Oh, he knows. He just
keep your leg closed.
He's out there in Baltimore. He knows.
Oh, dude, that is so crazy.
Yeah, man. These simping forces are one of the reasons why they do what they do, because again, our society rewards their bad behavior.
Mm-hmm.
It does, man. Bad behavior. One murder by one parent. See, look at that. Look at that. Look at that, y'all. If you look at the mothers versus the fathers, child murders by one parent. And it shows from 2001 to 2005, 2006, 2010, 2011 to 2015, and 2015, 2020. Look at the mothers versus the fathers. Look at how higher the mothers is versus the fathers, the deadbeats. Now, I had a dumb baby mama tell me the reason why the children are more murdered and abused by the mothers is because they have more custody. I said, so you telling me that if the child stay with the mother or the father, that it's justifiable to be abused? What do you mean? That was the most dumbest shit I ever heard. So because she got more custody, that means she should have the right to beat that kid, huh? Okay.
Dude, when he's bringing up that chart, you guys really need to be checking out Caden's Law. Caden's Law was where a father did kill the child. And
Right.
so the mom was saying he was using parental alienation and all the stuff that we do in the men's rights movement to get custody of the child. So
Right.
therefore, they're not wanting you to be able to claim parental alienation, use experts or anything in court. And they're wanting to write the law for everybody based off of this one case.
Yeah.
One case. Never mind all the mothers that killed their child. We're not writing laws on them. We need this case right here. That's the bull crap that they do, man.
Yeah, because they want to keep the father away from being having equal parenting or even having sole custody, because that's less child support in the cookie jar.
That's it, man.
Look at that. Child abuse and the father absentee. I'm gonna need all this. 77% of greater risk of being physically abused. Yeah, a lot of brothers here say they've been abused by their mom. 87% greater risk of being harmed by physical neglect. 165% greater risk of chance of experiencing notable physical neglect. 74% greater risk of suffering from emotional neglect. 80% of greater risk of suffering serious injury as a result of abuse, and 120% greater risk of experiencing some type of maltreatment overall.
Can I bring up one that's got a little bit of a stigma to it? And I didn't know this until I was reading it on Dad Talk the other day, and we need to make sure that we normalize it. Just because we're not going through it, we need to do this. What percentage of men before the age of 25 would you think are victims of sexual abuse?
Percentage, about 40%.
1 in 6.
1 in 6.
1 in 6 kids, boys before the age of 25. That's pretty high, man.
It's a high number. I know that, and
that's pretty high.
And this is with women, not with other men. We talking about women.
Yeah, 1 in 6 guys. These guys, and think about the double standard about that. Yeah, like you see a girl in high school that the teacher has sex with. Man, he's going to jail. He's going to jail for a long time. Right. But if it happens to a boy,
probation.
You go, boy.
Probation.
It's bullcrap, dude. Why the double standard, man?
It was a woman who had sex with an underage kid, and then she put him on child support.
Yeah,
she put him on child support, and he had to pay child support.
But I'm just, our guys out there, if you're one of those that have went through that sexual abuse, there might be a stigma. Oh, you don't talk about it. It's just like domestic violence. She can't hurt you. You can't have no trauma from somebody doing that. You don't know who that person was that was doing that to them. And there could be some trauma with our guys. We need to normalize these conversations, guys, so that we can make sure that you're getting the resources that you need. If you've been through that, make sure. Who was that men's therapist that you had in here earlier on?
Oh, the coach of clinician.
Yeah, dude, get in there and talk to these guys, man. There is nothing wrong with doing that. Look at Mr. Smith. Is the paternity coach?
Yeah, he say, great job, Lionel and Eric, for this collaboration. Combine the dads into one massive voting block, since we make most of the money that is used for taxpayer services at the federal and state level. Shout out to you, my brother. You definitely got to come back on the show again.
One of the smartest men and most underutilized people in this movement. That's my mentor right there, brother. Yes. I love him. And he's taught me a lot of everything that I say on here. And what Carnell is saying is true. As much as I've talked down on politics right now, the movement's not ready. We're not a voting bloc.
No.
But if we can take a little break and say, let's get all of our people to the table, and eventually we can start holding people accountable. We'll never be able to match them with money. Right. But I know that there's millions of us. And when those voices come together, we really need, there's been too much division in this movement between men. We really need to marry that and get everybody to the table. And I'm glad to see stuff like we're doing tonight, man. There is people that want to work together. We can forget about the organizations that keep the drama on, but we can do what we're doing.
Of course. That's why I just continue to do what I do and just stay in my lane. I don't worry about nobody else. Even people on YouTube, they try to throw me on the bus and try to get others not to fool me. And that's why I just keep doing what I do, because they're not going to talk about what makes me different. I go through the depths on how bad that fathers go through and these children are being destroyed because of this unjust system and these baby mama terrorists. They're not gonna go through the deaths on how I talk about.
Dude, Mark Angelucci was a men's rights lawyer that had kicked ass, dude, up against CPS. He had put CPS in their place numerous times, and it was another father's rights attorney that showed up to his house and killed him because he was getting more attention than him, dude.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy showed up as disguised as a FedEx.
That happened last year, right?
I think it's been about 2 years ago now, but yeah.
I hear about that. He was a father's rights movement and he got killed by somebody else.
Another more of the men's right. It's weird.
I heard about
father's rights and men's rights definitely intersect, but they're still kind of two different communities. But it goes in the men's rights movement too, dude. Like I see this infighting all the time. Stop that crap. We got a big enough enemy over here. We do. Let's go after it. Let's get on it. But to know that another men's rights guy would kill this attorney because he's making headway in this space. That's how stupid this crap gets, man.
Yeah, that was a simp enforcer.
Yeah. It was. Absolutely, it was.
Yeah. Yeah, look at this. I talked about that.
Yes, for the folks on here, this is from the OSCE, so those federal funds, the Title 4D funding. This is the bonus check that has actually been paid out every year to each state for their Title 4D enforcements. This is over and above everything else. I always like to brag about Texas. So for 2019, it's $87.7 million. See, Illinois.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna ask you about Illinois. Good old Illinois. I see it right there.
Ooh-wee. 15 million. Mr. Palmer, some of that's your money.
Of course.
That's y'all's money that you're looking at on the screen right there. You know what? This system needs dads just as much, man, as our kids do. If it wasn't for us, they wouldn't have what you see on the screen right there. Imagine if we said we weren't going to do that no more.
Right.
And that's the bonus pool right there, total for all the states. So your tax dollars, everyone that's listening in, your tax dollars you paid Uncle Sam every year, that's your money that's going back out to the states. They are literally profiting off the destruction of the family home.
Mr. Palmer, would you read that comment from Carroll for me? Because that is something that I believe we owe. This was a guy that fought for us, man.
There you go. I didn't realize he said it. Go ahead and read it, brother.
Attorney Mark Angelucci was on the Dr. Phil show with my client. The show was called Parent Trap. We lost a great men's right attorney that sued and won for discrimination against men in California. A lot of people don't even know his name, guys. Mark Angelucci. That was a warrior behind this, and it was another men's rights guy. I was jealous that he was getting this going. Please, make sure to keep his name out there, and we need more like him. So I'm going to tell you, I haven't seen many attorneys do what Mark done since. Really haven't. CPS is one of the most crooked organizations out there, dude. And that's the thing. We need to be creating more leaders in this movement, because if they got somebody that starts getting this message out and it starts getting really hot, let's take out the guy at the top. But what happens when you have this whole movement together? There is no one person you can take out. You can't make this go away. Everybody's here. We're fighting this. We're not going to shut up. Man, F child support. Hey, what's the hat say? One more time.
Okay.
Shout out to Lorenzo Davis for the $2 donation. He said, "Good show, gentlemen. Keep up the fight." Yes, that we will do. That we will do. Hey, I'm not gonna hold y'all no longer because I'm gonna get back on the couch. Y'all know what I do for a living.
There you go. There you go.
So
what was that video game you was playing on?
I was playing Back for Blood.
Back for Blood.
Back for Blood.
I gotta try that one out. We're gonna have to do some video games on here one night. You got some video gamers on the stream?
Yeah, I got a few gamers on here. Cool. Do me a favor, Pissed Off Parent, they want that website.
Pissedoffparent.com.
Pissedoffparent.com, y'all, and you get all that. Pissedoffparent.
All free.
Share
away. All this information is free. All collected. Hopefully, in addition to all the info, you have a laugh or two. I have a meme section that I'm kind of proud of. So
Oh yeah, you know they know how I post on my Instagram.
Oh yeah.
What I want y'all to do is tell them how they can follow you, subscribe to you, website and everything else before I get off on the couch.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll go first here. So for pissedoffparent.com, again, all free information, pissedoffparent.com. You can find me there, YouTube, Pissed Off Parent, of course, Facebook, Pissed Off Parent, I think 2019. I'm also on the Roku channel, or Roku and Amazon Fire Stick under the same name. The website, 2 seconds worth, it has all this information on it, all free. And if you want to get the latest and greatest information, I have an aggregator here that pulls in keywords. It updates every 4 hours. So if you want to find out the latest information on things impacting this environment, you can go here and click on shared parenting, child support, parental alienation, forums, and things like that, and other organizations that have information out there. And then if you want to check out other stuff on there, but again, the information is all free. Please go to it and share to your heart's content. I just want the information out there.
That's all I care about. Shout out to you, my brother. He's also on Facebook as well. Do you have a Facebook group, Pissed Off Parents?
No, I've tried to do things over the years, but again, a lot of times it's a one-man shows, trying to have chat lines, but yeah, I have not done that. That's one I definitely recommend. Eric's Dad Talk Today. He has a support group, very successful, a lot of good info in there, free, of course, where people can share information, ask questions, get a shoulder to cry on, regroup for the fight and all that. But yeah, that support group's great.
Most definitely. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you, my brother. And I definitely want you to come back on again.
All right.
Eric Carroll.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and tell everybody where to reach, subscribe, follow.
Yeah, dude, like it would mean a lot to me, guys, if you would subscribe to the YouTube, probably more than anything, because a lot of the funding that we're going to need to fight this war could be made right here if everybody shows up. Like, share, subscribes, make sure you're getting down there in the comments. And when we can get our people to show up, we can do this thing. I'm telling you, this isn't a gimmick. We can do this thing if you show up. But like, share, and subscribe. YouTube would mean the world to me, but we're also on Instagram. We're on Facebook. There's almost 750,000 people between those two platforms, guys. We're on Twitter, Rumble, Pinterest, TikTok. We're over there on TikTok, man. Make sure that you're getting in there and seeing that, guys. And it's been a lot of hard work just trying to keep this going. And I have to believe that one day that we're going to be able to make a difference. They've done a good job at keeping this fight out of the way, man.
Yes, they did a great job.
They really did. But this is it. And, part of my problem, dude, and why I'm needing some of the help over there on YouTube, guys, is I was going all over the country. One thing you guys can understand, YouTube, Facebook, they like consistency. They want you posting content all the time. I never knew when I was going to do a show. I didn't. So when I did this a couple of months ago and said, you know what, I'm just going to focus on getting back in here in the show and connecting with my people. We go live at 10 a.m. Eastern every day of the week, 10 a.m. Eastern. And sometimes we go back live again, 8 p.m. Eastern. When we feel like we want to do another show. But if you can get in there and you can like, share, subscribe, join the conversation. I did this earlier, and I am honored to be able to come on your show, Larnell, but can we take a second to talk about it? We might be reaching different people in different communities. Let's talk about the importance of everybody coming together, guys. They do not want us to come together. Do you understand? They want us to stay divided. They do not want men speaking. And the thing they fear more than anything is when all of our brothers come together and say enough is enough. And I think right now is the time to do it.
Yeah, 2023. And y'all know I told y'all there's gonna be some changes for 2023 with myself, the platform, and everything else. So when I say change the laws in your mind, I really mean change the laws in your mind.
That's it.
Make them changes. So it's very important that we come together, build a brotherhood, and definitely continue to spread the word and keep your veins on ice cold and stop being quiet. Speak up. Tell your truth, and nothing but the truth.
And say it the way that you say it, man. It's your words. You know, speak up. There's going to be people that are going to criticize you guys. Don't listen to the noise. Let it go in one ear and out the other. Keep focused.
Y'all already know my response with that one.
I was going to say, if they say that, your response is on your hat there.
Exactly. Or
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
I really don't. I really don't.
I need that button.
I can send it to you.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I really don't, because I mean, shit's getting old with this shame tactics and you know, well, you know, it's not the mom's fault and it's your fault. You just ain't fight hard enough and everything. It gets old.
Yeah,
it gets old. So
it is, man. You know, and shout out to you, because I know you've been kind of over here in your corner doing everything you can. And guys, there's a lot of work that goes into making this type of content. So 600 uploads, I just hit 300 uploads. So you got twice as much as me over here on YouTube. So good job, brother. Good job. And support these guys. They need it. Support these guys, please.
Yeah.
Like and share, drop them $1 or $2, you know, do all those things. I mean, we need that support. That tells us, you know, hey, we're doing the right thing. We're on the right track. Let's make some more content, get out there and shut these baby mama terrorists down.
Exactly. I don't know why, but it seemed like on my screen it froze. Y'all not, but y'all not froze. I'm looking at my.
That happened when you talked about keeping those veins ice cold. You froze up, dude. See, look, see, he got so cold. Those veins got so cold that he froze up altogether. That's the type of cold we're talking about, guys. Ice cold. I'm sorry. So welcome back to Fuck Child Support.
Yeah.
I am not Mr. Palmer, but let me tell you something. Get in here. Hey, come on, guys. Like it, share it, subscribe it. Get it in here. Get it in here. Baby mama's terrorist doesn't want you to doing it, but you better do it. Get in here. Like it. Let's do it. So Dwayne, how have you been doing? I mean, it was a pretty cool show, right?
It was a great show. I was just going to say the group has been awesome. I mean, the comments and the support and everything else has been awesome. So, I mean, this has been a great show. I am so glad that I was invited. I mean, it's just a great show. It was awesome. Thank you again for including
Mr. Palmer, you got those veins so ice cold that you froze up all the way. That's the type of cold we talking about, guys.
Yeah.
Ice cold.
But they doing some bullshit, but luckily you fell in. But yeah, I keep my veins cold like Sub-Zero, man. I don't. You got to fight this war. It's a war.
Hey, y'all seen that Mortal Kombat video where she's over there? He's like, child support. Oh, you bitch.
Oh yeah. That was the funniest
DNA test.
Yeah, she lost. So,
I want to know who made that. I want that one. That was good.
I forgot his name. He's on Facebook, but I had it. Yeah, he's on Facebook. He's a comedian. So yeah,
oh, you bitch.
You bitch. Yeah, it was funny, man. But I really appreciate y'all coming on here. Long overdue, but like I said, things happen for a reason, and this was a good reason.
Yes, sir.
We definitely got some stuff lined up. We plan on doing for 2023, y'all. So this is not just a one-time thing, and it's not over with, and it's not just gonna be on social media.
That's it, man. Now we got to take this to the streets, guys. We got to get out there. Look, again, check that out. Once we get through in the States, I can't leave my brothers behind. Not over there in them other countries. Could you imagine how much bigger this movement would be if we could go and expose what's going over there, and they can do the same for us, and we all start showing up and supporting each other? Yeah. There's millions and millions of people that are fighting this war. We should be pulling way bigger numbers. What have we done wrong? Let's make 2023 the year that we say, let's fix this thing, man. Exactly. I feel something this year, dude. It feels a little bit different. I don't know what it is, but it feels like change is in the air, guys. But again, we can sit here and do this every day until we're blue in the face. It's up to you guys. When we got the support here, we ready to fight, baby.
I agree.
Ready to say, fuck child support.
Yeah, damn right. Fuck child support.
Dwayne, you look like you're starting to have fun with it.
Fuck child support. Fuck child
You
support.
need the hat. Pissed off parent needs that hat.
Yeah.
I got the hat, so that's not a problem either, man. I mean, here's the thing: a lot of people feel the same way. Some just not going to be outspoken as that.
Yeah.
That's all to it. But I definitely appreciate y'all, and we definitely got to do it again. Maybe next time we have Cornell on here. We could definitely talk about that paternity fraud again.
Have you had him talk to you about the cupcake?
Nah, what's the cupcake?
No, I do. Next time you have Cornell on, as soon as you started to ask him about the cupcake, I had somebody else that told me to do the same thing with him.
Yeah.
And it started a whole week of the Cupcake Chronicles, and you'll love it. It's his version of Baby Mama Terrorist. But he calls it Cupcake.
Next time when he come on here, I'm gonna ask him about the cupcake. Okay. I definitely appreciate it. And I will let you know when I have Chris on here.
Oh, dude, you're gonna love that one.
I know I am.
You're gonna love that one.
God. Okay, my brothers. I definitely appreciate y'all tuning in and coming on. Shout out to the Baby Mama Terrorist Bounty Hunter. Shout out to the Cows Gang. Appreciate y'all to the fullest. We're gonna go ahead and log out. I will be back on tomorrow, 11 o'clock Central Standard Time with Dallas D. We got 2 situations we're gonna talk about, and of course, expose and make people mad as always. So on that note, y'all already know I'm Mr. Palmer, and this conversation is over.
What's on your hat one more time?
And I was just finna end it with that. Fuck child support. Peace. Not that one.